Welcome to Wednesday and to our devotions for the day. It's indeed a joy to have you here with me once more, and I always look forward to being with you on these occasions. At the college, Cotterton College, we have been exploring contemporary spirituality and the inherited tradition. And we have been joined by some friends from Mercer School of Theology out of Long Island Diocese. And they're here with us for 3 days of seminar. Began yesterday. It continues today at 10 o'clock and into tomorrow. Tomorrow will be the final presentation. Today's presentation will look at the Anglican theology and spiritual formation, and it will take a look at the Tractarian movement. I'm going down to Ramses and the Gospel and the Catholic Church, and we'll be joined by Canon Bruce Griffith, who was to be here with us in person, but he had a bout of illness and will join us over the internet. So I want to encourage persons to join us. If you go to our Facebook page, you'll see a wonderful link to that effect, and you can join the sessions today and tomorrow. As we come together today, then, we do so always mindful of God's wondrous love, God's compassion, God's willingness to draw us close to God's self. And so as we do this today, we come acknowledging the beautiful gift that we have in life. And so we want to come into that place of true stillness and peace as we bring our attention to our breathing and we bring ourselves into our heart space and we open ourselves, just deliberately and consciously breathing, filling our hearts with gratitude and love, being so thankful, so very thankful for all that we receive and for all that we are. And so we breathe with awareness, feeling the presence of each other, knowing that we're not alone, knowing that this journey presents to us many companions along this road. Some may be with us for a short time, others for a much longer duration, but whether the time is short or long, those who we encounter are all gifts from God, all part of the plan, the great plan. And so we give thanks. We give thanks that we're here. And those that we have known who've passed on, we give thanks for them too, because at last they are free of this limitation and they can expand and rejoice in the divine presence as they reconnect with their soul families, loved ones. So whether we are here or there, let us make an effort to ensure that we are in a space where we are able to please the one who has sent us into the world. So as you sit or lie in your stillness, just remember who you are. Remember that you are a gift of God to the world. Remember that you belong. You belong. Feel that. Know that. Rest in that awareness. As you breathe, as you hold this knowing in your heart, trust in the one who has shown us the Father in his own journey, in his own life. And so today we continue in John's Gospel, chapter 6. And just remember what we were talking about yesterday, the whole notion of bread and going after that which is perishing versus that which is there to stay, the imperishable. And this entire chapter continues that theme of bread. And folks are reminding Jesus that they would have received from Moses. And Jesus says, very truly I tell you, it was not Moses who gave you the bread from heaven, but it was my Father who gives you the true bread from heaven. For the bread of God is that which comes down from heaven and gives life to the world. They said to him, Sir, give us this bread always. Jesus said to them, I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never be hungry, and whoever believes in me will never be thirsty. But I said to you that you have seen me and yet do not believe. Everything that the Father gives me will come to me, and anyone who comes to me I will never drive away. For I have come down from heaven not to do my own will, but the will of him who sent me. And this is the will of him who sent me, that I should lose nothing of all that he has given me, but raise it up to the last day. This is indeed the will of my Father, that all who see the Son and believe in him may have eternal life, and I will raise them up on the last day. Trying to make his point and helping persons to understand what he's been sharing with them. Seems to be taking every possible effort that Jesus has. And it is amazing that in our journey in this world we are so locked in to the perishable, that we kind of try to define all of life from that place. And by that I mean, while we may be receiving information or getting a sense of a greater picture, we always seem to have the need to reduce whatever it is that we are receiving to something that we can manage. So even here where Jesus speaks of himself as the bread of life and that he can give this bread of life so persons would not thirst anymore, the immediate response is, give us this bread then. Give us this bread. You see, a similar matter when Jesus is speaking with the woman at the well, and he speaks of living water, and she says, well, give me this water that I don't have to come to the well again. In so many ways, we have done this with our faith tradition. We have rendered it big enough to fit into our minds. And anything that is beyond that, we have ignored like many before us. And in a sense, it's understandable because persons want to be able to speak with authority. At least authority as they understand authority. For us, authority means that I have the knowledge. But we're talking faith. And the authority in faith comes not from having the knowledge, but having the knowing. And oftentimes, the knowing cannot be defended by any body of knowledge. But the knowing is just that. It is what I know. And you somehow hear it in Jesus' dialogues. Jesus knows who he is. He knows without a shadow of a doubt who he is. And folks are constantly trying to get him to prove who he is. To give them something that they can hold on to that says, yes, that is who he is. But Jesus scarcely responds to this because this knowing is not about amassing knowledge. This knowing is just something that you know. You just know. But they didn't want that. Just as we don't want that. We want to have knowledge of or knowledge about. A fish knows itself. It does not know itself as separate from the water. It knows itself and it knows the water. We need to be able to recognize that there's a knowing that we must acquire, not through any outward information being presented, but through an awakening within ourselves that causes us to know without proof, without external proof, but to know as a kind of second nature. Jesus kept trying to help folks to let go in so many ways of their limited understanding of life and just allow themselves to know life. We see this in various native traditions where there are those men and women who walk in different worlds, who have this knowing about plants, this knowing about the stars, this knowing about life in general. And some have a knowing, an intuition that is able to cause them to be diviners, to know what is going on in another person's body. It's not something that they do, it is something that they are. But to be able to engage this requires that we let go of the need to have knowledge of. Because the effort to have knowledge of shuts down the avenue through which we know. We are so caught up in discovering the knowledge and acquiring it that we forget that there is knowing which emerges from deep within and fills our imagination. Jesus wanted those who he came to experience this knowing. And he didn't want to lose any of them. He wanted to be able, at the end of time, to know that they had all gotten it. But our journey in ignorance is overwhelming. It is mind-boggling to think that we hold on to it, but we do. Because we have been taught one particular way of being in the world, one particular way of accessing information. And we give way to that time and again, without recognizing the fact that there is more than one way. And we need to be open and receptive so that we may discover what God desires that we know. That we know, not that we have knowledge of, but that we know. Practice your stillness. Practice your times of quiet and silence. Practice listening within and allowing that knowing to emerge. Try to come away from the desire to amass knowledge, to know about, and just simply be and allow yourself to know. Trust God. Trust what God has placed within you. It may not occur immediately, but trust the process. Know that once that heart is open and turned towards God, God will fill it. God will bring forth from it what God desires it to be. So be open and be willing to allow what is within you to come into your knowing.
its time.